Hey guys, so obviously my next video that I want to film is going to be my November reading wrap up, but I wanted to let you know what I was hoping to read in the month of November so that we can compare to what I actually read and see if I stuck to my TBR list. I gave myself 5 books for my November TBR list. Because usually I can read max 5 books. It's kind of a little pushing me. I wanted to give myself enough books for my TBR list instead of not enough. But let's get to it. This first book was a new release when I got it, and so it's in a hardcover, and I do not like hardcovers, but that's the price you have to pay for a new release. But unfortunately, I don't really know much about this book. I just got it because it was a new release and everyone was raving about it, and I guess you could say I had a little bit of a FOMO. So that first book is Alchemize. I also do love though how it is hardcover, and we have the beautiful dust jacket, and then you open it up inside, and this is kind of cool. And then the design on the front of the cover and the design inside of the dust jacket. I don't know much about this book, and I don't know if you guys are like me. I don't really like to know what a book is about before I go in, so I don't want to tell you guys anything. But the first book that I wanted to read this month was Alchemize, and I was kind of scared because I have 2 big books. You'll see in the next book I have 2 very big books for this month, and I was expecting both of these books to take me like almost the whole month because of how big these books are. They're kind of a little bit intimidating. Like Alchemize right here is over 1,000 pages. So she's a beefy gal, but she's beautiful also. But I love People's Alchemize in other countries. I don't know if it's in the US, but their Alchemize, they have a paperback version already, and they're have sprayed edges, and the sprayed edges go right exactly with the cover, and I love when they do that. Don't get me wrong, I love sprayed edges where they do like something that pertains to the book that isn't on the cover. When you read it, you'll figure it out and be like, oh my goodness, that makes so much sense. But I also do love a good sprayed edge that goes seamlessly with the cover. Both of them are perfect. But enough about that one. The second book that I wanted to read in the month of November was not a new release, but it was blowing up on TikTok at the time and everyone was loving it. And that is Stephen King's 11/22/63. And also I was really excited to read this book because I'm not really a history person, but the concept for this book was really intriguing, and I wanted to see how they would turn that around and make it into a book format. As you can see, again, this one was a big book, so I didn't know if I was going to read a lot in the month of November with those 2 on my TBR list, because it would take me a while to get through both of these. This book isn't as long though, it's only 849 pages, but that still would be one of the biggest books that I've read. I also was kind of a little scared to read this book because there was a TikTok that I saw about a woman describing this book and said that in chapter 3, like, he takes the whole chapter just to explain something, and I was like, well, that's kind of gonna put me off and make me not want to read this book. But I really do want to see what this book is about, so if anything, I think I might try to immersive read this or listen to it on an audiobook just so that I can at least get through it. Now, the next couple books that I wanted to read in the month of November were part of a series. I didn't think that I was going to get through the whole series with also the 2 books that I just showed you before, so I only put a couple of those books on this list, but these are the books in the series that I wanted to try to read in the month of November. Also, I recently purchased this series because I heard that it was getting turned into a TV show, and people love this series. People love to get the new covers, the original covers, the indie covers. People love this series down bad, so I wanted to read it before it comes out as a TV show because I love reading books and seeing how their TV show or movie adaptation turns out. So we have the Chestnut Springs series, and we have the first book, Flawless. I don't know much about these books. All I really know is that they're cowboys, obviously, and I don't think I've ever read a cowboy romance. I also think that they're contemporary romance, and I don't really know the difference. I obviously know like dark romance and stuff, but I don't know what contemporary romance is, so I'm kind of excited to see what all this universe has to entail. They're just super cute little fast easy reads, honestly, and I quite love these covers. I know that a lot of people like these covers, but honestly I like these cute little covers. A cute little cover is going to get me every single time. I'm going to want to read it, I'm going to want to have it, and I'm going to buy it because it's cute. It might not be the best story ever, but I'm going to buy it because of the cover. I am going to judge a book by its cover, sorry. So then obviously the next book that we have is the second book in that series, which is Heartless. I also know that a lot of people are putting who they wanted to play each character right now on TikTok, and I haven't read the book, so obviously I don't know anything about these characters, their personality, what they should look like in my head and stuff, but it is quite cool to see what other people are expecting to see on screen for these characters. But again, we just have a beautiful cover and so excited for all of these characters to get their happy ever after. Then the third book in this series is Powerless. The first book in my opinion was kind of a little small, and then these other books are getting a little bit thicker, so we have a little bit longer to stay with these characters. But this is Powerless. This is the third book in the series, and there are 5 books, so there are 2 other books in the series that I also have on my bookshelf, but I didn't know if I was going to be able to get through them like I told you, because the other books that I had in this TBR list for the month were a little bit thicker. But those were all 5 books that I was hoping to read in the month of November, and then in the next videos you guys will be able to tell if I have kept to that TBR list or if I strayed a little bit. But I do have a good variety for the books that I read in November, and I also started listening to audiobooks. I was not an audiobook girly before. I did not consider it as reading, still don't consider it as reading, but you can read a book and you can listen to a book. They're their own 2 separate things. So I do have a couple audiobooks that I also listened to in the month of November, and I'm excited to tell you guys what I thought about those books, because even though I might not have read the book, now I do have thoughts and opinions on the book, at least because I listened to it, and I'm going to tell you guys what I thought about those books as well. I also wanted to start listening to audiobooks because there was a couple books that I had DNF'd recently that are getting turned into a TV show or movie, and I wanted to be able to understand what the movie or TV show is about before I go see it. So the quickest way to get to that was listening, and I'm glad that I listened to it instead of trying to read it again and still not liking it, because some of the books I did end up actually liking listening to it rather than reading it. So let me know down below what you guys had on your TBR for the month of November, and if you stuck to it or not, and I'll see you in the next one.